the Single Mom Success Podcast, episode 35. I don't like eating healthy. I would like healthy food a lot more if it tasted better. Like if broccoli tasted like a bacon cheeseburger, I would eat more of it. This is the Single Mom Success Podcast, where we cover all the glorious mess that is life as a single parent and how you can navigate through to become the best version of yourself and how to live the life you desire. Do you want to get weekly email reminders of your awesomeness? Head on over to thesinglemomblog.com to sign up today. Now, let's get started. Hey, thank you for tuning into today's Single Mom Success Podcast. Hope you are doing well, and I just want to let you know, you right there listening right now to my words, you are absolutely freaking awesome, and you should never forget that. Just wanted to make sure you were aware, in case you didn't know. If you did know, it's always good to hear. But anyway, diving into today's podcast, I actually wanted to do today's podcast about mindset. And mindset is something that I've talked about many, many times in my various different podcasts. And, you know, most people, you know, they think, well, yeah, you've talked about it, but it's so super important. And mindset is something that, you know, it changes. It you know, obviously your mood changes day to day. Your opportunities change day to day. Your mindset changes day to day. Your circumstances can change day to day. But your mindset is something that is so important. And it's not just one thing. Obviously, you're not going to just have one mindset forever and ever. Amen. It's going to be something that will adjust, change, be different day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. And, but always, you know, it's, you know, having a positive mindset, having a ambitious mindset. And, you know, so there's very different things. And one of the people that I love to listen to is, Gary Vee, Gary Vaynerchuck, right? Like that's how he says his name. And if you've never heard of Gary Vaynerchuck, he is a businessman. He's an entrepreneur, and he's really freaking amazing. He's absolutely awesome. And I love listening to him because he's very inspiring. He's very down to earth. He's very real. He swears a lot. So just a little FYI, if you do listen to him, if you do go and find him, and I'll link to him, in this post on my blog, it's not necessarily something that you want on your speakers at work in case, you know, anybody can hear, because it's not necessarily fit for work or small ears, you know, if you don't want your children to hear a lot of swearing. But he's amazing to listen to because this man, I mean, he is like perfected the hustle, and it's amazing to watch him. And to be perfectly honest, oftentimes I feel very tired watching him because I don't know if this man sleeps. And if he does, I don't know how much he sleeps because he is always going. It seems like every time I look at any piece of his content, social media, you know, any of his YouTube videos, it's like he is constantly on the go. It's like 1 a.m., 3 a.m., 5 a.m., 6, and I'm sitting here going, when did you actually stop and rest? But he talks about that. He's like, you know, he hustles more than probably anybody. And he says that. He's like, you know, sometimes the fact that I just out hustle people, it's not that I'm necessarily smarter or better, I just outworked them, right? And that's how I achieved my success, or that's how I did great in this particular arena. It's not because I knew more or I was better or better looking or smarter or anything like that. I just outworked them, right? So this guy, like, absolutely is crazy busy, but he's super inspiring and he's amazing to listen to. I've read, I think, all of his books. I started with Crush It. There's a book called Crush It. And I think that was his first book, if I remember correctly. And then he's got another called Jab, 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 Right Hook, which is all about, various different, marketing principles. And then he also did the Thank You Economy, which is great. I believe he did the Thank You Economy. Yeah, I think so. Which is fantastic. And he recently just did a book called Ask Gary Vee. And that's based on his show, because he actually does a show called, Ask Gary Vee. And he's had actually very famous people tune in and ask him questions. So they ask him questions about business and marketing or social media or, whatever it may be. And he answers them, and he's great to listen to. I mean, he's had people like Ashton Kutcher. He's had pro football players, Eric Decker, who I personally love, even though he defected to the Jets from my Broncos. I still love him. And so Brandon Marshall. So there's been a bunch of people, and it's so cool to watch him. And he's just one of those people who is very inspiring to me because of how he approaches his business and his life. And, I'm trying to take a lot from that, because in my business, one of my biggest things that I struggle with is just getting over that fear of failing, right? And so he talks about how, failure is something that just is going to happen, right? And it's a numbers game. He's like, if you fail one time, or if you fail 9 times and you succeed once, then what that means is in order to, succeed 100 times, then I have to fail 9,000 or 999 times, or whatever, right? Whatever the math ends up being. It's early and I don't want to do it in my head. But so he talks about that, and it's like, okay. And so things like that are really helpful to me, because that is one of the mindsets that I have to work on and change for myself. I have to make that shift for myself in order to get anywhere with my business and my goals and my dreams and my vision and what I want to do. Is that fear of failure or rejection or ridicule in my business life. So personally for me, I don't necessarily care in my personal life, because I don't really give a crap, much about what, I came out of my relationship with my ex, my daughter's dad, after I got over the first few months of just being really hurt and upset and angry. I came out of that with sort of a new, I don't give a shit what you think attitude. And it's sort of the one I had before I went into the relationship, but it was like reinforced after that. So I'm not worried about what he'll think or anybody else will think. Like, I'm not concerned with anybody else's opinion in my personal life, like me personally. But for some reason in my business life, I freak out. Like, I panic like mad. I'm like, oh, I can't put that out there. What will people think? What will people say? Is this the right, is this the right image for my business? Like, maybe it's not even fear. Maybe it's an overanalyzation. Maybe that's what it is. I overanalyze everything. I overanalyze it to death, to the point where I get no forward progress. So one of the things, and the reason that I decided to do this podcast, is today on Gary Vee's Instagram. I follow him on Instagram because I follow him on every single social media platform, I think. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Snapchat. He's a huge Snapchat fan. And I personally, up until last month, I had never even looked at Snapchat, because I thought, oh, it's just for kids. Like, it's just for all the stupid high schoolers. Nobody that's a grown adult is on here. And of course he changed that for me. I went and listened to him speak at Infusioncon in Phoenix in March, and he talked about Snapchat, and I was like, okay, all right, well, if Gary Vaynerchuck, who is an adult and is a businessman, is really utilizing this platform, then I should re-examine it and take a look at it. I'm still not quite sure what the heck I'm doing on it, but that sort of ties into the whole trying to get a focus and a direction for my businesses and what I want to do. But today he posted on his Instagram just an Instagram meme that says, "One life, one time." And he said in the comments, way too many people aren't acting this way. And this really resonates with me, because recently, after going to Infusioncon, like I said, when I went to this, there was a lot that I got out of it. Not just for my business, not just for the technical side and learning new things, but in more of a coaching way, inspiration wise, information I got, obviously, but this time around I got sort of that gut check of what in the hell do I want, and what am I doing to move my dreams forward, my goals forward, and what am I going to do to stop getting in my own way, really. And so this meme really resonates with me because of that. Like, I came home and just really thought about all of the things that I put off for one reason or another, whether it's fear of rejection, fear of ridicule, overanalyzation, just being flat out lazy. Like, what am I doing in my life to move my life forward? And did I just get, like, I think in life we have this, it's really easy to get to a place where we're comfortable. We may not necessarily be extremely happy, but we're in a place where we're comfortable and things are okay. They're not fantastic. They're not off the charts amazing. They're better than they were, but they're good. Like, you're comfortable, right? And so it's really easy to sort of sit back into that comfort zone and just stay there for years and never ever move past that, because for me personally, I think it's a fear that if I move past that, like if I do anything to rock the boat of my nice little comfort zone, I might lose it. The biggest fear I have is going back to where I was struggling so hard, not making it, not providing for my kids, on government assistance, just, stuck in this little hole that I felt like I couldn't get out of. And that's my biggest fear, is to fail my family. So getting myself in this nice, comfortable place where everything seems to be going really well it's really easy for me to stay parked in this nice, comfortable spot, even though I want more, even though I want to do more, even though I want to provide more for myself, for my family, and my business, and my life. This comfort zone, it's comfortable, right? That's why it's called a comfort zone. It's comfortable for me, and I'm sitting here enjoying that comfort, but still in the back of my mind wanting more. But I am super afraid of rocking the boat and losing the comfort that I have gained, that I've worked really hard to acquire and achieve. So, but this meme, like I said, it talks to me and speaks to me, and a lot of the stuff that Gary Vee says really does resonate with me in that way, because he addresses the things that are those little nasty voices in the back of my head, the ones that are like, no, you're good, this is where you should stay, this is, everything's good here, don't push it, don't rock the boat, if you fail, you'll go back down to the bottom again, and you don't want to go back down to the bottom. But he addresses those. So like with this one, where it's, you've got one time, one life, right? It's something that was even mentioned at Infusioncon. You get one body, right? You come into this world, it's the body that you get, and if you don't treat it right, you're not going to have it for as long. Like the second you're born, you start dying, right? That's how it works. So it's up to you to decide how long or short your journey is in this body. So, so this speaks to me on a couple of levels. It's that, okay, you got to get up off your ass and realize that, you're not going to get another shot at this. You're not going to get another day. You're not going to get, the last 10 minutes back, the last hour back, the last week back. So what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do to move yourself forward? What are you going to do to improve your life, right? How are you going to make yourself happy? How are you going to bring about what it is that you want for yourself? And, and that's where I've been sitting for so long. And so these things that I see really help push me forward and give me that nudge. And that's why he does stuff like this. And it's great to listen to him talk. And again, like I said, I really encourage you to do that, because he's very motivating. He's very brisk. He's very harsh. He's very real, which is, I think, one of the reasons that I like him. He's not a lot of fluff. He's not a lot of foo-foo. He's like, you know what? You are 100% in charge or responsible for your own fucking life. Like, you are. There's no excuses. You don't get to blame it on anybody. You are responsible for your life, 100%. And I fully believe that, right? I fully believe that you are responsible. You're responsible for your own happiness. You're responsible for your own success. The only thing that ever holds you back in life is you, right? The things that mess us up the most in our head is that vision of how things are supposed to be, right? This is how it's supposed to be, but I haven't done anything to actually achieve that. Well, then that's on me, right? This is what I want, but I'm not doing anything to make it happen. Well, that's on me. It's not anybody else's fault, right? It's mine. It's not the government, it's not the immigrants, it's not my kids, it's not my ex, it's not anything. It's on me. It's on me to do what I need to do. So, and this goes back to my health, right? I know that I need to lose weight, but I also sit there and go, you know what? I love to eat food that's bad for me. I do, and I'll fully admit that. That's my biggest problem. I hate to diet. I hate it. I don't like eating healthy. I would like healthy food a lot more if it tasted better. Like if broccoli tasted like a bacon cheeseburger, I would eat more of it. I would eat it every single day. I would eat broccoli all the time if it tasted like a bacon double cheeseburger, right? But it doesn't. So, but I have to take responsibility for that. And I always have. I've always said, look, I totally know the reason why I'm not losing weight. I know why I gained weight. I quit smoking and I almost instantaneously gained a truckload of weight, right? Because I replaced smoking cigarettes with shoving food in my face, right? So it's, again, my own fault. I made that choice. I will definitely take the weight gain in exchange for quitting smoking. I will make that change every day. Because I am so happy that I quit smoking. Best decision I ever made. Worst habit I've ever had. Hardest thing to ever to quit. Like, it was insanely difficult to quit. And it's terrible. I swear, it was like, I can't even imagine being a drug addict. I really can't. Like, I can't imagine knowing the hold that cigarettes and nicotine had on me, to the point where I told myself, okay, I'm going to quit smoking and I'm just going to do it. And I threw the remaining pack of cigarettes. I think I had like 4 cigarettes left in a pack. I threw them into the trash can and I was like, that's it, I'm quitting, right? Like 45 minutes later, I was literally dumpster diving in my trash can to find that pack of cigarettes that I had thrown away to get those 4 cigarettes. I would be the worst. Like, I would be a horrifying drug addict if I had ever tried drugs. I can't even imagine the hold that things like that would have on people. But cigarettes, seriously, it was bad. So the fact that I quit, I will take the weight gain from that, hands down, over getting rid of that control that specific product had over me. But now I have to own up to, and I always have owned up to, it's not like I'm like, oh, it's not my fault, I try and lose weight. I fully admit and own the fact that I hate to exercise and I love food, right? So I fully know and understand and acknowledge that it is my fault and it is on me that I have not gotten the weight back off, right? The weight gain came from quitting smoking and also quitting waitressing and being in a more sedentary job, working from home, sitting on my butt. But I had to take responsibility for that. And so now watching and getting into this new mindset of, okay, I'm taking responsibility for that. That's great. I've always taken responsibility for it. Now I need to actually put some action into it. I need to change my mindset and say, look, yes, I know broccoli does not taste like a bacon double cheeseburger, but a broccoli is what I need to eat, right? Like, that's what I need to eat. I need to make myself do this because it's in my best interest. Like, I can't sit here and pretend, being almost 40, that I'm going to bounce back like I used to. My blood pressure is going up. My knees are freaking shot. I have, all these things that are going on, and I know where it's coming from. I know what needs to happen. And I know that if I continue to not take action on it and continue to not make that conscious decision to make that change and actually implement it, then I am not going to succeed. And this is my one life, one chance, right? Like that meme said, I don't get a second body. Though how cool would that be, right? If you could just take the one in and exchange it like you do a car when it's got too many miles on it. That'd be awesome. But I don't have that luxury. And I have 3 beautiful children that I need to stick around for as long as I possibly can. So and I've done posts before and podcasts before about weight loss, and I'll probably continue to do it because it is a huge struggle. Like I have always said, I bow down and totally give mad credit to anyone who can diet or eat healthy on a consistent, regular basis, because I absolutely suck at it. I fully suck at it. And I know that is where I struggle, because I like food. I love food. I love all kinds of food. Italian food, Cajun food, Chinese food, and I live on a corner where depending on on a corner of a block where depending on which way the wind is blowing, I either can smell McDonald's, Panda Express, or KFC. And it's a constant. Like, it doesn't matter. There's some direction, whichever way the wind's blowing, I'll smell one of those restaurants. And it's torture. When I'm sitting here going, okay, all I've had to eat today is a protein shake and a salad and some, a handful of, unbuttered popcorn or whatever. And then I step outside and I smell Panda Express wafting in towards me, and it calls to me. And it's terrible. So, but this is what is so important to me is, I know what I need to do. And how often do we do that? I'm seriously posing this question to you guys out there. How often do we know the shit that we have to do? We know it, right? And we know it's in our best interest, and we know it's what's good for us, and we still don't do it. Why do we do that? Why do we self-sabotage, right? And we do this on a constant basis. I know I do. Why do we go back to Panda Express and stuff our face with orange chicken when we know that we're supposed to be dieting, right? When we know that we need to cut calories, we know that we need to lose weight in order to be healthy. Why do we do that? Why, if we're in a horrible relationship and we leave, do we go back? Why do we do that? Why do we self-sabotage? Why do we assume that it's going to be better the second time around, or the third time around, or the fourth time around, right? I could have saved myself a ton of heartache if I would have just listen to myself, listen to my ex, listen to everybody that said, you need to stop trying to make this work, right? It's not working. Why are you continuing to try and make something happen that's not going to happen? I would have saved myself a ton of pain, right? And upset. And it's so crazy how we know what we should be doing, but for whatever reason, we sit there and we just don't do it. And I think it goes back to that comfort zone, right? For whatever reason, what we know and what we're used to doing is comfortable. It is hard and scary and challenging to do something outside of our comfort zone, to push ourselves to a point where we are uncomfortable. And I think that is where it needs to happen. And I have this great thing it's printed up and it's up on my desk. I've got all these little inspirational things all around my desk and my computer in my house, that says, change lies just outside your comfort zone, right? Success lives just outside your comfort zone. All the things that you want, that you really, really want, they're all outside your comfort zone. And that's where you have to step into. You got to step out of your comfort zone and into that uncomfortableness for anything good to happen, for any progress to happen. And that is really where it's super scary. It's so scary, right? Because we all fear failing. We all fear losing that comfort that we had, right? But if we don't take those risks and take those steps and do what needs to be done, no change will ever come. And that is really where I am. I'm like right on that edge. I'm right at that ledge, ready to step off and jump. And there is this really great talk and video that Steve Harvey does, where he talks about jumping, right? Like, if you want that change, if you want that life, then you got to jump. You got to jump with both feet, because nothing is ever going to happen from the safety of your comfort zone. All the excellent, amazing things in life are never going to happen while you sit back in your cushy chair in your comfort area with your fuzzy blanket wrapped around you where you feel safe and warm. You're never going to see more than that. You're going to live in that little comfort zone until you die, and you'll never experience more of your life. You'll never experience what else is possible for you. And so that's where the mindset shift is really coming in for me, because I know that there is so much I want for myself. I want so much for my business, so much for my life, so much for my family, so much for myself. But I'm staying in my warm, fuzzy, comfortable, safe place. And that is not where my ideal life lives. And I'm never going to get it if I don't jump. And I only get one life, one shot. And if I keep living in fear, I'm going to die wishing that I had done what I always wanted to do. I'm going to die wishing that I had jumped. I'm going to be an old lady still sitting in my comfort zone, wishing that I had had that life and wondering why I didn't. And that's not what I want. And that's not what I want for my kids. I don't want my kids to grow up thinking I have to stay in my safe little comfort zone because that's where everything is okay. I want them to venture out and be bold and be brave and take risks. And, you know, it's funny because we teach our kids all the time. We tell them that all the time, right? We want them to learn to ride their bikes, and they're like, well, I'm afraid I'll fall. Well, you might fall. But if you don't try, you'll never be able to ride this bike. You'll never get that joy. You'll never have that experience. Is it better to sit here and watch all your friends ride their bikes and see how much fun they're having and feeling like you're flying down a hill? Or do you want to be the kid who feels like he's flying down the hill? And if you want to have that feeling, you have to take the risk of falling. We tell our kids that all the time. How come it's so hard for us? You know, I never really thought about it like that. And it's amazing. Like, we lead by example for our kids. Our kids learn, you know, more from what we do than what we say, right? I mean, that's just a given. You know, as much as we would love to say, you know, oh, they know because I told them. They learn from our example, right? What we show them, that's what they learn. And I want my kids to be bold and experience life. And if I'm not showing them that, then I'm not doing my job. And that's not what I want for my kids. So that's my mind shift that I have to tackle. That's my mindset that I am working on. One life, one chance, one shot. We have one go at this. And I want mine to be spectacular, right? I've spent a lot of years in misery and finally pulled myself out of that. And now I'm spending a lot of years in my little fuzzy comfort zone. And while that's nice, I want more. I want more. What about you? What are you going to do to propel your life forward? What mindset do you need to have? What shift do you need to make in your life today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year? What do you need to do in your life? What is that thing that you always wanted to do, but you're so afraid to try? That's what you need to go do. Because that is where your happiness lies. That thing that you can't stop thinking about, that adventure you want to go on, that business you want to start, that idea that you have, that vision of a life that you want for you and your family, that dream that takes you out of your comfort zone and propels you to that next level in your life. What is that one thing? And how are you going to achieve it? What needs to happen for you to get to that point? That is what I want you to focus on today. That is the whole point of this entire podcast. Go out and do that. That one thing, that couple of things, those things that take you out of your fuzzy, warm place and scares the living shit out of you, but that is really, really what you want in your life. Go do that. Make that happen. Because in 10 years, you'll look back and go, God, why didn't I do that? I could have been 10 years into it now if I had just started 10 years ago. It goes so fast. Like, I can't even believe that I'm so close to 40 right now. It's bizarre to me, right? Because it seems like not that long ago I was 25. It really does. So don't waste it. The time that we have. I mean, that's my goal. That's my mindset. I have decided to dedicate my focus on eating better, watching what I do, getting more exercise. I've lost 3 pounds. It's not a ton, but it's something. I'm happy. It's progress. And I'm moving forward with my business. I'm doing the things that scare me. So, what is your step? What is the next thing you are going to do? I would love to hear from you. Please go to thesinglemomblog.com, find this podcast, and leave a comment. What scares you? What is your thing? What is that thing that you need to do? What shift do you need to create in your life, and how are you going to do it? Because just wishing for it ain't going to make it happen. You need to create the space for you to make it happen, and then you need to put your ass into action and start doing things to move yourself forward. You need to hustle. Like I said, this guy Gary Vee, I swear, the man does not sleep. Now, personally, I can't do that. That's me. He does his thing, I do me, right? But I admire the hell out of this guy because he is just like on point. Like, he is constantly on. Now, the concern to me at that point is, I'm going to work myself to an early grave, but just that focus and that dedication and that drive that he has, that mindset, that's what I take away from him. Just that, get it done. Don't wait. Do it. If you fail, great. Then, you learn. And then you do something else. And that's where I'm going. That's what I'm doing. So, keep an eye out. I'm going to have some great things coming up. That's my mission. I'm not going to put them out there yet, but they are coming. And I am super excited to get started. So I hope that this was helpful to you. Go out, get out of your fuzzy comfort zone, figure out what you want to do, and start taking action, because you get one shot at this life. And you get to make it what you want. It's nobody else's decision but yours. So go do it. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will talk to you soon. Take care. Thanks for joining me today for the Single Mom Success Podcast. Be sure to follow us on all our social media platforms, and if you haven't subscribed to our newsletter yet, head on over to thesinglemomblog.com to make sure you never miss out on our most recent posts and podcasts. Thanks again, and never forget, you rock.